Hello, welcome to Buzzing with Cousin Talk. I'm your host, Cousin Johnny. How's everybody doing out there? We got a great show planned. I got a great guest today. But before I start, I'd like to shout out to all these courageous firefighters out there that are risking their lives to help us out here in our communities. So thank you all firefighters. In fact, our guest tonight or today is a firefighter, and we'd like to thank him. So let's just get this show started. So I'd like to welcome this gentleman. He's the president of the Monterey Pickleball Club. Now, pickleball is a craze now. I mean, you're driving down the street, you look over and you see some courts. You see these people playing with the paddle and looks like a wiffle ball, I think. But anyway, we're going to talk about it. So please welcome Mark Thomas. Mark, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me on. It's great to be on with you.
How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Not playing as much pickleball right now as I'd like to. As you have mentioned, the fires are raging in California, and it takes our minds off of what we really love to do. But happy to talk about pickleball.
Well, we thank you for what you guys do for us. So that's great. So thank you. So pickleball, it's a craze now. I mean, everybody's talking about it, and you drive down the street, you look over, and you see these guys playing with their guys and girls playing with a paddle, and it's like, what the hell are these guys doing? So how did it start?
Well, pickleball started, it was a backyard game. It was on a summer retreat, and they were trying to figure out something to do with all the friends and family they had out. They had an old badminton court and some old paddles and a wiffle ball, and they created the rules on the spot, and the game of pickleball got started. The names of the origin, it's a funny name, but it's a great sport. But the names of the origin are debatable. But a lot of people say they had a family dog named Pickle, and he kept chasing away with the ball, so they called it Pickle's Ball, and the name stuck.
I remember with my kids in the backyard, and I remember it was like, okay, what do we do? And I would say, okay, we've got this ball here. We're going to kick it. It's going to bounce off a wall. And then if it hits that wall, it's a point. So, we were trying to have games kind of like that.
Yeah. And so our court that we use for pickleball is same dimensions as a doubles court for badminton, because that's the court that they started on.
Okay.
And they created a couple more rules that made it a fun rally-oriented sport or game, as opposed to like tennis, where it's try to get out of there as fast as possible. So it's a great sport, and there's a reason it's the fastest growing sport in the United States right now.
It really is. Yeah. Now the net is down real low, right? I think is that how
the net's a little bit lower than a tennis net, so it's 34 inches in the center and 36 inches on the outsides over the court. So it's a little bit shorter than a tennis net, but the court actually is quite a bit smaller than a tennis court.
Yeah.
It's and this is what makes it so inviting to so many people, is regardless of your mobility or athletic ability. If you're playing doubles pickleball, you really are only covering a smaller area of the court, and for the most part, doubles is the primary way to play in social outings. So it allows people of all skills and abilities to really get out there and be able to understand the game.
Now, some of the rules, you still get a couple of serves like tennis. You could double fault, or how does that work?
No, so that's a great question. There's a couple of funny rules that pickleball has that are unique to pickleball. You only get one serve, and in pickleball, if the ball hits the net and bounces into the service square, it's considered a good serve. so you don't get to reserve it. But you only do get one serve. One of the interesting things is, in order to promote rallies, they decided that the service had to be an underhand motion. So unlike tennis, where you throw the ball up and spike it down,
Oh, yeah.
pickleball really has to, come across from an underhand motion. So it's a arcing kind of serve, as opposed to a downward projectile that you often see in tennis games.
Now, when you're rallying, could the ball has to bounce? You can't just hit it in the air, can you? Or
Well, you can. So there's a couple unique rules to pickleball. One of the rules that a lot of people struggle with, especially tennis players when they first start, is a area in the front, the no volley zone, which we fondly refer to as the kitchen. And it's a 7 foot wide by the entire length of the court, or the width of the court, which is 20 feet. That area you cannot volley in, which is hitting the ball out of the air without it bouncing.
okay.
And so that's one of our rules. And the other rule is, in order to promote rallies, they have a two. The first serve, you return the serve off of the bounce, and then the return of serve, you also have to let it bounce. So the best way to describe it is, you serve, bounce, return, bounce, and then it's game on. You can hit the ball out of the air, or you can hit the ball off of the bounce, and
now can the bat? Let's say the ball's coming up. You can't go over your head and slam it. It's always got to be like below the shoulder, right? Or
nope, that's not true. No, that's actually one of the most fun parts about pickleball is occasionally you'll get that ball flying through the air, and you can come down hard on it. But the beauty of it is that it's a wiffle ball. So if someone slams it hard at you and it hits you, it's not going to leave a mark.
So it's an actual wiffle ball.
Yeah, I actually have a pickleball here. It's about the size of a tennis ball. It's got holes. The majority of the pickleballs that they use out here are plastic, but it's got 40 holes, and the holes are designed to promote aerodynamics. So the ball will use spin. So a lot of people like to use a spin on the ball, and they'll use a top spin with their paddle, or a slicing spin, much like tennis. So the ball will do different things. If you get a good top spin on it, you'll really see the ball, turn over and come down on it. Same thing with a slice. If you slice it, it'll just cut through the wind, and once it hits, it'll stay low. So it's an easy transition for a lot of racket sport players, such as tennis or racquetball, or even ping pong. So
what I like about it is it looks like it's anybody can play, senior citizens, kids. I mean,
that's actually one of the common misnomers about pickleball is that it's only for senior citizens. Our club has over 100 members, and while the majority are retired and they love the be able to play during the day, we also have a very vibrant group of middle-aged and young kids out there playing on a regular basis. And I've talked to a couple tennis players who are like, "Oh, I'll pick up pickleball when I turn 80 and I can't move as much." And they're insinuating that they don't get any exercise out of it. But I can tell you, I've seen a Green Beret out there sweating and panting hard because he's been playing for 2.5 hours of pickleball, and it's a great cardiovascular workout. You get as much out of it as you want.
A lot of rallies back and forth.
Yeah, you can definitely promote rallies, and I encourage anyone who's interested to find out. Just look up pickleball pros on YouTube, and they'll see some amazing play out there, and they'll realize that it's not a sport to take lightly.
I've been checking when I knew that I was going to have you on. I've been going on YouTube and checking it out, and it's pretty darn good. Yeah. How about
Yeah.
Mark? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and one of the things that people don't understand about pickleball is there's a lot of fast-paced action going on. The When we first started playing pickleball, it was kind of set up with a dink rally, and a dink is just hitting a defensive shot over the net that bounces into the kitchen. And the idea behind that is you can't attack it and win a point off of it. You make your opponent hit the ball up and over the net, and by hitting it up, it's going to cause them to put you in a position where you have to do the same thing back and forth. But if you look at these pros play nowadays, they're really getting into these battles at the net, that the volley battles back and forth, and the reaction time and speed that they play is just incredible.
Now it's just a wooden paddle. Is it got a
No,
web or?
So the origin of the pickleball paddle was a piece of plywood, and then as the game moved on, there was actually, so its origins were based in Seattle, and prior to the breakthrough, they had used a wooden paddle. And then one of the players, his dad was an engineer for Boeing, and brought home some space-aged material and tried to create a lighter version of a pickleball paddle. And then they came up with the honeycomb interior design that they used on aircraft, and ultimately what it's come down to is now a pickleball paddle has a carbon face or some sort of polypropylene core with some sort of either carbon face or other type of material, and the surface is actually textured to promote grip on the ball, so you can do spins on it. But let me see here. There we go. I'll block myself out for a second. So this paddle is actually regulated by size. The way that they regulate it is the width times the height can only be a certain overall length number. So you either have a long, skinnier paddle like this, or a shorter paddle like this. And then the paddle that I prefer actually uses a completely different technology. This is a carbon fiber shell that they baked over a foam interior, and it provides a much different aspect, but you can see the thickness of the two of them. This is a lot thinner, to me, it feels like I'm driving a Porsche through the air as opposed to this, big full-size truck that goes through.
Now, get the paddle at a local sports shop, or do you got to order it online? Or?
No, so there's numerous ways to get a paddle, and you can buy anything. They still sell the wooden paddles for probably $15, $17 at your local Big Five. They also sell paddles that are with the newer kind of technology, may not be as high quality craftsmanship, but they'll certainly get you out on the court and you'll have a good time. And those range anywhere from $50 to $75, $80. And then the paddles that I just showed you, they can run anywhere from $140 to $200. So it all depends on what your commitment is to the game, and what kind of paddle you want to use. But they have a much wider variety of paddles available online. There's numerous retailers on there. One specifically that's kind of been the kingpin for pickleball is pickleballcentral.com, and they have a bunch of reviews. So if someone's new, they can get on and go to Pickleball Central. They can type in paddles types, and they can read all about the different styles and what they're good for and so forth.
That sounds good. I got just a couple photos that I'm just gonna put up. Some people playing pickleball. Looks like a doubles match there.
That's actually a senior pro doubles match.
Okay, great.
I was actually at that match reffing.
Oh, really? This particular one?
I know great. I know those people well.
And now we've got, it looks like it's a co-ed, so.
Yeah, and so the way we call it in pickleball is you're either in a mixed doubles or doubles. So this is a mixed doubles.
I got another photo here. Just some people playing there, pickleball.
Yeah.
Shows the court, the net.
Yeah. So if you want to hold on there for a second,
Yeah.
so that light blue area right next to the net, that's called the kitchen. That's the area that we were talking about. So it,
Okay,
it
yeah.
extends on both sides of the net. And that's the area where you can't step into the kitchen. If you notice the woman about to hit the ball with the light blue shirt, both of her feet are in the dark blue court, and she's bending down, reaching down to hit that ball that's going to come up. Now, the reason she's in that position is because she can't be in the kitchen and volley the ball. And the reason they implemented the kitchen no volley zone is because they wanted to take away that ability of a guy like me. I'm 6'4" and I have a wingspan that is of an albatross. They wanted me to not be able to just stand at the net and beat any ball out of the air. So the whole idea of pickleball was to promote rallies. So if you notice that area in front, that's the kitchen, and she's doing a good job staying out of it and hitting the ball on a volley. All right. Well, Monterey Pickleball Club has its origins from probably around 2014-15 when there was a group of people that had gone out on vacations and learned about the sport of pickleball and brought it back to the area. At the time, there weren't any courts available, so they had started by taping down makeshift courts on tennis courts and using a tennis net to facilitate play. And they were doing that at both Via Paraiso Park in Monterey and Forest Hill Park in Carmel. And there was an avid group of loyalists that would come out a few days a week, and they would stand in line and play on one or two courts. And that's the beauty of pickleball, is it's a social game. So while you're not out there playing and having fun, you're standing around with people who have the same passion as you at playing pickleball and just having a good time.
Yeah, well, I know
so that was
players, and
they're
pretty dedicated. They really enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so right now that we at Monterey Pickleball Club have grown to a much larger number, and we're constantly on the lookout for a place to play. The unfortunate part about pickleball is kind of gets a bad name just because the sound is a little bit different, and when the ball hits the paddle, it can make a little bit louder sound than a tennis ball hitting a tennis racket. Absolutely. But everyone who's out there has the same passion and is having the same good time. And pickleball is based on sportsmanship. It's sportsmanship and camaraderie. So, right now there's pickleball courts and play available throughout the peninsula. We've grown a little bit, and so they have play at Morris Dill tennis courts in Pacific Grove on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. You can show up as a beginner anywhere from 9 to noon, and you're most likely going to see another group of people out there willing to let you in and learn how to play. Same thing goes for Via Paraiso. They have dedicated time to play there on Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 o'clock to noon. So if you show up and go to Via Paraiso Park in Monterey, there is a good chance there's going to be pickleball players out there playing. And then we also have you just show up. I guarantee you, Johnny, if you showed up tomorrow in PG and said, "Hey, I've just talked to this guy. He said I should try pickleball out," and you just show up with a good attitude and some sport or athletic shoes on, someone would let you borrow their paddle, and they would give you the time that you needed to learn how to play. That's just the way pickleball players are. They want everyone to be as enthusiastic and passionate about pickleball as they are. I've never seen a more dedicated group of people trying to grow the sport than the people that I've encountered playing pickleball.
Well, I'm excited after just talking to you. I'm excited about
it's a passion. It truly has become a passion. And my wife and I have taken up traveling all over the Western United States playing pickleball. So it's something that we enjoy together. We do together, and we even got our kids playing. My wife got my 15-year-old and 11-year-old in a tournament with her, and they had a good time playing together. So it's a family. It truly is a family sport.
Do you have a Monterey tournament here? Like every now and then.
Yeah, and unfortunately,
Together.
the Monterey tournament is going to happen before this post goes up. Mike Zuri is the pickleball director out at Chamisal Tennis Club out off of Highway 68, and he's having what they call a pickleball palooza this weekend. It's going to be Friday night. It's going to be a social time, and then Saturday and Sunday he's actually going to have a tournament for all ages and abilities, and it's a round robin tournament, which means you get to play. You get guaranteed a certain number of games, and you're out there to have fun. And the prize is being able to enjoy the sport with other people around you. So that's another place to play is Chamisal. They've really got a good thing going over there. The owners have made pickleball a priority while not giving in to the needs of the tennis players, but they also have made it a point to say we want to encourage pickleball too, because they see it's a good, clean, healthy activity that they want to support.
That's really great, and what you said about the camaraderie between the pickleball players is really a nice thing. And
yeah, it truly is.
So Mark, somebody that's listening and says I want to go play pickleball, then just show up at one of those courts and just ask to play then, right?
Yeah, I would so there's a couple things I would encourage them to do. If you're listening and you're like, I think that sounds like a lot of fun, I want to try pickleball, I would encourage you to do three things. Number one, make sure you have a good pair of athletic shoes. Running shoes are not the best shoes for pickleball because there's a lot of cushion and give in running shoes, and that's just the nature of what running is. You're putting a lot of impact down. But for pickleball, so instead of going front to back, you're doing a little bit more side to side. So people who may not be used to doing the side to side motion with running shoes, they have a little thicker sole. They can catch them, and that can cause you to turn an ankle or trip and fall. So we encourage you to have a good pair of court shoes, which are a little bit more stable soles with less give, and they have the ability to move laterally as well as forward to backward. So number one, a good pair of athletic shoes. Number two, take 15-20 minutes, check out Intro to Pickleball on YouTube. It'll give you a really good explanation of some of the basic rules, so that way when you go out there you have a basic understanding of the sport and know what the rules are. No one's going to get the scoring on the first time because that's a little bit difficult, but that's an important thing. And then number three, have a good attitude, because everyone out there is there to have a good time. So if you bring a good pair of shoes, a little bit of knowledge about pickleball, and a good attitude, you're going to have a good time.
Well, that's great.
Guaranteed.
I really enjoyed this conversation I had with you, Mark, and I really appreciate you coming on and
absolutely
sharing this new great sport with us. So I really thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
Okay, Mark, and take care, and we'll see you out on the pickleball court. I think I might attempt it. Okay, thank you. Oh, thank you, Mark Thomas, for coming on and sharing pickleball with us. Looks like a great, fun sport, and I'd like to thank everybody for coming on today and tuning in. And we're going to have another show next week, next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. So hopefully you can tune in there. So everybody have a great week. Take care of that hard-working hospitality worker. And maybe we'll see you on that pickleball court. Thank you. Bye.